And the only thing that's in the way of us and the life of our dreams is us and our fear. And I actually think that's good news. Because a lot of times we point the finger and we say, well, it's my trauma, it's my story. That's why I'm not successful. You know, it's my ex, it's the job that I'm stuck in. And it's really easy for us to point the finger as to why we are not living the dream that we know is right there waiting for us. But the second we can just turn in and own it and say, you know what, I'm the one. I'm the one that's in the way of this. We can change that. We can't change the story, the ex, the job, the situation. We can't change the bank account. We can't change any of that. The only thing that we can change is our inner landscape. And when we have practical tools that can manage that fear and get it down from a 10 to a 2, we're able to think clearly. We're able to think of new revenue streams. We're able to think of new creative ideas and ways of bringing our gifts and talents into the world. So I believe it's our job to really take on self-mastery. And that's what personal development is all about. You know, becoming the Olympian in your life. And it takes consistency and practice. So what I'm going to offer you all today are simple practices that you can start implementing into your life on a daily basis. Now, I would love to say that these tools are going to take your anxiety from a 10 to a 0. But the only thing that I'm aware that does that is a great big bottle of Chardonnay and a Xanax. So unfortunately, I'm not selling that today. All right, so let's dive in. John Kabat-Zinn says it best. He says, because there are no drugs that will make you immune to stress or pain, or that will magically solve your problems. It will take conscious effort on your part to move in the direction of healing and peace. This means learning to work with the very stress and pain that is causing you to suffer. So what happens for a lot of us is the second we start feeling anxiety or pain, we distract. And we are professional distractors. What are some of the ways we distract? Shout it out. Procrastinate. Alcohol. Television. How about the internet? Netflix, binge watching, Narcos, food. So there's all these ways, right? And there's nothing wrong with a glass of wine. There's nothing wrong with watching a television show or checking your Facebook. But when you are doing that in escapism, what you're doing is you're not leaving a space for creative solution, and you're numbing out. And when you numb out, you can't be present to possibility. So that's why we teach mindfulness to manage it all. And I think, this room is very full today. And I think that it's a reflection on what we're all dealing with in this country. There's a lot of fear, right? And there's a lot of unknown that's happening for a lot of us. So coming together in community is one of the most important things that we can do. I used to do one-on-one coaching. I don't do that anymore. I just do group work because I've seen the exponential growth of when people come together in community, support each other, hold each other accountable, is when people really start to soar and fly. And we have to start coming together more in community and really finding what our truth is and what our contribution is, and actually step up and make that mark. The world needs people who are in this room that are conscious enough to know that there's something more, that know that they have a contribution. They might not know what it is, or they might have fear around it, but you're not on the hamster wheel just doing what you're doing and getting what you're getting. You came here today. So that says a lot to me. So what is the true cause of anxiety if you turn the page? A lot of times we see anxiety as out there, right? My finances are causing me anxiety, or worried about my children is causing anxiety, terrorism. So all these things are out there. And maybe I'll never find my purpose causes me anxiety, or that I'll never find love or keep my current love causes me anxiety. So you see, this is all looking like it's all out here. But anxiety is actually an attachment to a thought, right? We are unbelievable filmmakers, right? We can see a horror film starring us, and we just run that mind movie. And the problem is that our body, our physiology, does not know the difference between a mind movie and reality. So when you are creating scenarios in your mind, it causes that heart palpitation. There's just one more chair. That's it. The heart, and then you gotta shut it down, Hillary, because it's gonna be disruptive. It causes anxiety. It causes, you can't swallow, the sweaty palms. All of that starts to happen for us, right? And meanwhile, it's just a movie inside of our heads. And that's what anxiety is from. It's from an attachment to a worrisome thought, right? So that's what worry really is. It's just a thought pattern. That's pretty awesome, right? Because what do you just have to do? Right, change your thoughts, right? And usually when we get into that obsessive thinking, we can't change the thoughts because we are so sucked in. Go to the next page. So tool number 1 is to become the audience. So I'm going to give you an analogy. Imagine you are sitting in a movie theater, right? And it's cold, it's dark, popcorn's on your lap, and you're very aware that you're in that movie theater, right? Now the movie starts, and you start to get sucked in, and you're eating your popcorn, and it's so real that you're crying, that you're laughing, you're feeling whatever emotions the character is feeling. It's absolutely quite remarkable, isn't it? That you feel something that's on a screen, okay? So what we forget in that moment is that we are sitting in an audience chair watching something. And it's not until the lights come on and we're interrupted and we're like, oh my God, okay, here I am, I'm back in the movie theater. So what we want to cultivate is first the awareness of the fact that there's the you that's flipping out, and then there's the you that's watching the you that's flipping out. There's a piece of us that's our essence. It's our soul. It will never die. And it will always be there. It is wise, it is undauntable, it is fearless. And to have that wherewithal to allow the part of you that is so powerful to interrupt the movie that the frightened you is creating is the tool. I actually created this course a year and a half ago, this particular workshop. And it came out of the most tumultuous time in my entire life. My son turned 15, started high school, and the sweet, delicious little boy that we had the most amazing relationship with turned into the devil incarnate. And everything, all of his fear and anger about starting high school, and he's got dyslexia and dysgraphia and all this frustration, all came upon me. And he would throw his 3x5 cards and push over the chair, and he was so filled with rage and anger. And I literally couldn't control my kid anymore. So his father and I have a very good relationship, and we decided as a family that he should go live with his dad. Now, if you know me, and you know Cole and I, this was like unheard of. And I had to walk past his room every day and look at his bed. And for the first week, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat. And all I wanted was a bottle of Chardonnay and a Xanax. But I got myself together and I put together the tools that I had been teaching people for years. And I began to use them. And one by one, they would calm me down and have me turn off the horror movie that I was writing, that Cole and I would never have a relationship again, and focus on another possibility. And for 4 months, I dealt with that. And one day he called me and he said, "Mom," this is what he really said, "I'm so sorry, I was such a douchebag. Can I come home?" And during that time, a really good friend of mine who's a therapist gave me an article, and it was a poem that a teenage son wrote to his mother, and it said, "Mama, before I go out into the world, I have to sharpen my claws on you." And that stayed with me. You know, like, okay, I'm accepting what's happening. I'm not gonna make myself bad and wrong, that I'm a terrible mother. I'm not gonna get angry at him or the situation. I'm just going to be with this. This is what I am experiencing right now. This deep grief, loss, anxiety, this is where I'm at. And I shared that with him when he came back. And, you know, he's a teenager. He's like, "I don't know what was wrong with me." And I was like, "Well, you've had hormones and you're frustrated, and you know, your father would have thrown you up against a wall and beat the shit out of you probably, and you knew I wasn't gonna do it, so who got it? Me." And now we have the most unbelievable relationship. Amazing. So I got to the other side of it. And when I got to the other side of it, you know, I thought, wow, I made it. These tools are so powerful. I was still able to function, be a powerful leader, coach my clients, have a relationship. You know, I was able to function with this sadness and this anxiety. And if anything, the fact that I get to share that with all of you, it was not in vain. So it's with great honor that I give you these tools today, because they saved my life during that time. And life is like this, right? It's good, and then the universe gives us a nice punch in the face. And whenever that happens, I go, okay, cool, I get to use my tools. Awesome. So that audience member, next time you're lying in bed and you've got that 4 a.m. loop and it's going round and round and round, and you are writing, producing a direct horror film starring you, allow the interruption to happen. Because for me, it was very subtle. You know, it was almost like I felt a tap. Jen? Yes? Is this movie that you're running, that you'll never see your son again, is that true? Well, I don't know. No. Is this 100% gonna happen? No? Okay. Use your tools. And so then I would start using the tools that would manage the anxiety. So first you have to interrupt yourself. And it's like coaching yourself off of that ledge. So I want you to get to know that part of you, and even understand that it exists. You know, think about when you sit in meditation, right? There's all the thoughts and the emotions, but who's watching those? That's your awareness. That's your audience member. And you can have a dialogue with this audience member who is wiser and more grounded and more focused than you are. Once you do the interruption, then you can start using some of the tools. The first is anchoring. Anchoring is just what it sounds like. You know, if you're sitting there, whether you're at work or at home or in the car, and all hell is breaking loose and you're just, right? To be in this moment, right here, right now, is where peace lives. Even if your whole life is a complete debacle on the outside of these walls, would you agree that right now, in this moment, you are fine? Yes? Yes. I mean, you're really fine. You have a spa pass. And you're at the Standard in Miami, and it's January, and it's frickin' 80 degrees out. So, like, you're really fine. We're probably the 1% right now, right? So we're good. It's just when we go upstairs and we start worrying about the future, regretting the past, that's when we get the anxiety, right? Because we're attached to thoughts. So do you see how just to be right here, right now, unless somebody's coming after you with a knife, you're okay in this moment. So this moment is like your safe zone. anchoring. So that's like, boom, to anchor into this moment. So there are a few tools that come from the Stanford course that help you start to anchor. And the first one is the 5 senses check-in. And it's just the way that it sounds. Scientifically, they've shown that you can't focus on your rapid thoughts and your senses, what you see, taste, touch, feel, hear, at the exact same time. So if you want to turn off the obsessive thinking, you turn on the senses. So let's just try that. Let's do an experiential exercise together so you can have a visceral experience with this. Let's just start looking around this room. Just notice the colors and the textures. Anytime a thought comes in, move your gaze to another object and just be in the room for a moment. Now close your eyes. Deeply breathe in. Invoke the sense of smell. Next, still with your eyes closed, invoke the sense of taste. Gently run your tongue along your teeth and swallow. Next, invoke the sense of sound. What are the sounds coming from inside this room? What are the sounds coming outside this room? And now notice touch. Notice the way the air feels on your face, the way your shoes feel on your body. And now notice your breath, how on the inhale through your nose it's cool, and the exhale it's warm. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Did anybody worry about the future and regret the past? So that's one way to get you back into the moment, to anchor you. Okay, so the 5 senses. Now, if you're at work, or you're frustrated in traffic, or you're online, and you're not going to close your eyes, right? You can do this all with your eyes open. And it's called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And it's kind of a remix of what we just did, but eyes open. So for example, if you're sitting at your desk, first you identify 5 things in the room, and you actually want to verbalize it and label it in your mind. So it would be, whiteboard, lamp, shutter, eraser, phone, right? So you just label it. 4 would be tactile, touch. So you would just touch 4 things in the room, but you would notice like cold glass, smooth computer, rough notepad, smooth pen. You'd identify. 3 would be to smell. So your cologne or perfume, cup of coffee, candle. So 3 is smell. 2 is listen. 1 sound coming from in the room and 1 sound from outside the room. And finally, taste. Hopefully you have a piece of dark chocolate. All have that handy. And so that can just anchor you. If you've got anger, frustration, fear, anxiety, just do that. Like I said, grocery store line, car in traffic, office. And you can just see that anxiety, that fear, frustration just coming down. And when you are at that base, when you're home base in the present moment, like I said, that's a place where you can think of creative solution, problem solve, creativity to get you out of whatever predicament that you have just found yourself in that's causing the stress and anxiety. Clear? Any questions on those?
What's 1?
Taste. Chocolate. Any other questions?
5 hours.
What?
5 exposure.
5 is sight, what you see. 4 is touch. 3 is smell. 2 is listen. And 1 is taste. You're welcome. Okay. Tool number 3, meditation. Raise of hands, who in here meditates consistently? Okay, great. All right, so a lot of meditators in here, awesome. Meditation is wonderful for so many different reasons. One of the greatest benefits is that it raises your serotonin level, which decreases stress and anxiety. What I found, though, is an inconsistent meditation practice, meaning if you're not meditating 4 to 7 times a week, you're not going to really get the benefits of meditation. The other benefit that I love to enjoy and love to have my students enjoy is clarity. A lot of times we're feeling fear and anxiety because we don't know what the next best step is. We don't know what our purpose is. We don't know if we want to live in Miami. We don't know what kind of partner, and that causes a lot of fear and anxiety, the big black hole called the future, right? And with clarity, you can get crystal clear about who you are and what you want. You see, we have this GPS in our soul. I call it YAK. You always know. So you have all the wisdom inside of you. But if you do not cultivate that wisdom, that intuition, you can't access it. So we're all born with intuition, and your intuition is mistake-free, by the way. It can take you from China all the way back to Miami without one wrong turn. But you have to be dialed into it. The 3 best ways to cultivate your intuition, according to science, is mindfulness, taking time alone in nature, meditation, and journaling. So the Stanford course requires that every single day for 8 weeks, you do a mindfulness, meditation, and journaling practice in order to manage stress and anxiety, but most importantly, to get the clarity and get the direct connection to your intuition. I find a lot of people, and this used to be something I used to do all the time, we take the poll, right? And we say to our best friend, what do you think I should do? And our partner, what do you think I should do? And our mother, what do you think I should do? And we get 20 different answers. And then we don't know who to listen to, so we stay paralyzed. We do nothing. So my job as a coach is not to tell anybody what they should do or give anybody advice. It's to give them tools to unlock their own wisdom, their own creativity, their own answers. So this needs space, this YAK. And if we are busy all day long going from event to event and on Twitter and Facebook and internet and Netflix and cooking and working, and I mean, there's no way we're going to even be able to get the direct messages because we're so busy and our minds are so busy. So this is the self-mastery coming in, taking that time, creating that space for wisdom to arrive in a meditation or onto a blank page in journaling, in a moment in nature. So we have to create those speed bumps in life, right? We go so fast. We're in one of the major cities in America. It's just nonstop. So the practice that I have my students do is just 15 minutes a day. And that's it. And that sounds really easy. And what a lot of people do is they make a nice little meditation station and they put little crystals and flowers and a cute little cushion from India, or maybe the girls do. And they're like, hey, what's up? And they just walk on by. So as humans, we are all professional procrastinators, right? I procrastinate. And having community, doing work in groups, group work, is a structure for accountability. And that really is having the support and people to come to week after week to say, did you meditate? Are you journaling? Did you do the practices? When you have that kind of structure, you will have success. Unfortunately, left to our own devices, we don't really follow through. Some of us do. Some of us are like highly motivated. I am the most highly motivated person I've ever met. I'm like a lunatic, double Capricorn, New Yorker, right? I have 2 coaches. I just graduated from 4 months of doing personal development work as a student, and I constantly surround myself with community that holds me high and holds me accountable so that I can be as successful as I possibly can be. So having accountability in your life around meditation and having a consistent practice is key to really being able to enjoy the benefits of the clarity that you will receive, of the direct cultivation of your intuition, of the answers that you're going to get, and even just the physical of the serotonin raising and the depression decreasing. So it doesn't matter what kind of meditation you do. We do a specific one in my class, but there's so many, and I think they're all awesome. But what I really want to leave you with is consistency. That's what's going to get you the results that you want. I mean, think about an Olympian, right? An Olympic ice skater. Ice skater. She didn't become, well, were you an Olympian? No, but close, right? National. So she didn't get to nationals just by like going and ice skating one day, right? So I want to be living like an Olympic style life. Just having a 10 relationship and a 10 career. That's the kind of life that I am interested in living. And so that takes something. It takes consistency and practice. Body awareness. This is another great anchoring tool. And this is great when you're lying in bed. I use this one a lot. So everybody just take your hand and put it in front of your face. And this hand meditation combines self-soothing, counting, and breath. So when the obsessive thinking is going, you invoke this tool and you will be so focused on what you're doing that the thoughts will stop. So what you do is you start with your index finger and you very lightly tickle and you breathe in and count 1. Pause, breathe out, count 2. Breathe in, 3. Pause, 4. Breathe in, 5. Pause, 6, down. Breathe in, 7. Pause, 8. Breathe in, 9. Pause, 10. And you can do this over and over until you fall asleep. Like, I use that one a lot. You know when like your mom or a lover would just tickle your back? It's like so soothing. And so that just starts relaxing you, just that alone, the counting, the breathing, the focus away from the thoughts, onto the senses. That's going to take the anxiety down. So journaling. I'm not sure how we make sense of all this going round and round and round and round and round. I mean, it's like crazy town. The second you put pen to paper and you take all of those thoughts and you deposit them, you've got clarity. Okay? Have you ever had this moment where you have a to-do list in your head and you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna do this, and you're like obsessing about it, and then when you write it down, you stop thinking about it, right? Okay, journaling's the same thing. The journaling that I'm talking about is not, you know, the little pink diary that you did when you were 10, ladies. Little hearts, cute names. It's a mental taking out of the garbage. It's just that. Every morning, what would it look like if you just took it out? Took out that stress, that anxiety, that fear, that, I don't know, that confusion, and just took it out. Take it out of your head. Something happens to you psychologically. You trick yourself. You're like, oh, I don't have to think about all that shit now because it's there, right? I don't have to obsess about that. This is wonderful if you wake up in the middle of the night and you can't sleep, just write it out. Write it out, write it out, write it out. Get it up and out. It's very cathartic. In the Stanford course, we actually teach a specific meditation called portal writing. It's done during the twilight state, between consciousness and unconsciousness. So Albert Einstein used this state. Edison used this state. What Edison would do is he would sit in a chair with a fork in his hand and a metal plate under him, and as he would fall asleep, the fork would hit his pan and wake up, and in that moment, he made a lot of his discoveries. So for our purposes in my class, it's not only about getting rid of fear, it's about cultivating your creativity, figuring out your purpose, knowing what's next for you. And so we use this twilight state in order to access not only our own intuition, but also the brilliance of the universe. And this co-creation begins to happen when you practice. You know, because in the beginning, it's going to be your crazy dream. It's going to be what you're pissed off about. It's going to be your fear, your to-do list, and it's going to be nonsense. But this is a practice, right? Over time, there's a pearl of wisdom, and another, and then it's like, ooh, this is the name of my business. This is the tagline to my book. This is the new revenue stream that I'm creating. It's like, my second book came out of my morning pages. I wasn't even planning on writing a second book. I was just like, oh, and this must be my second book. It just kind of, so I'm not sure, I mean, I wasn't like channeling, but I don't really know who wrote it. That twilight state, you know, it's a very interesting state between consciousness and unconsciousness. The itty bitty shitty committee that lives inside your head is asleep. So it doesn't say don't write that, don't say that. It's a place where you have a free mind. Right? So whether you use that state or you just journal in the middle of the night, in the morning, in the afternoon, before you go to bed, 5 minutes a day. You know, I always say minimum. I like to set my students up for success. I prescribe 10 minutes of meditation and 5 minutes of journaling a day. Anybody can do that. But if you're writing and it's flowing, just keep writing. Don't stop. If you have the time, just keep writing. I like to do my practices in the morning because then it's done and I can move on with my day. All right, I want to do some journaling right now. So the first one we're going to do is a goal that I want to achieve this year is, and I actually want you to paint it out. You know, talk about it a little bit. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to do some writing. And, you know, what does it look like when it occurs? Who's there? Really paint it in, okay? So I'm going to give you 2 minutes. The goal, a goal that I want to achieve this year is, and what is it going to look like when you achieve it? Okay. 2 minutes, begin. That we want to live is right there waiting for us, right? And the only thing, like I said earlier, that's in the way of us, and that is us, our fear. And the interesting thing about fear is a lot of people are waiting for it to go away, and I'm not sure that happens. I actually say to my students, if you're not afraid, then you're not playing big enough. So fear is part of it. You can do 2 things with your fear. You can let it paralyze you or propel you. So we begin to make friends with our fear. And it's not about overcoming fear, it's about cultivating fearlessness. And fearlessness is not the absence of fear, it's the presence of bravery. That you have the guts to step up, you know, with shaking knees and beating heart and closed throat, and still make your contribution. When I first got the radio show, and I'm there, you know, I'd never done this before, and I've got freaking Esther Hicks and Wayne Dyer flanking me. And like tens of thousands of listeners. Can you imagine what it was like the first few shows? I would like pee, I would do everything, then I would sit down like, I gotta pee, I need water. I was like a mess, hot mess. Thank God I had Esther like in my ears listening to her. She was so kind. Get in the vortex, get in the vortex, get in the vortex. And I was like, oh my God, what if I, you know, all of this stuff that's going on and all of the physical, you know, fear that's coming out, and I'm sweating and I'm heart palpitating and whatnot. And I'll never forget, it was probably the 2nd or 3rd show. I just closed my eyes, and in my mind's eye, I saw this woman. And I imagined that she was somewhere in the middle of America, and she had been like up all night, dark circles, just really full of a lot of suffering and sorrow. And I thought, if there's one thing that comes out of my mouth that's going to lighten her load, that's going to ease some of her suffering, then all this fear is worth it. It's not about us. It's not. Every single person in this room has a gift, a contribution. Some of you have legacies to leave. And it is our responsibility, I think, to work with that fear, to manage that fear, so that we can leave this world better than when we came here. right? And it's not about us. So the second I get out of my own way and I don't make my fear about me, it's about being a stand for other people, making my contribution, easing suffering, helping people figure out what their purpose is and their contribution. All of a sudden the fear is like gone, because all of a sudden it's not about me. So that's a very powerful thing to work with. When you're feeling a lot of fear, but you know that the book that you have to write or the business that you have to start can make contribution, and it doesn't have to be in the way that I'm making contribution. It could be in your own way, that you're in service of something, making some sort of difference. That can really fuel you, and when you don't make it about yourself. So there are different kinds of fears that really come up for us that we get to work with. Not overcome, just work with. So the first, if you turn the page, is the fear of failure. These are the biggies, right? Like think about your goal and then think about, is one of these what's stopping you? Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of change, fear of the unknown. So fear of failure, you know what, before I go into that, I just want you to fill in the fear that is in the way of my goal is blank, and I'm afraid that. So I'm going to give you like 1 minute to write that. It may be something else besides this. This is just the biggies. All right, so 1 minute. The fear that's in the way of my goal is, and I'm afraid that what? And then I want you to turn the page and really write the 2017 horror film. What is the worst that will happen? The worst. And for 1 time in it, just go there. The worst that will happen. They're going to laugh at me. I'm going to fail. I'll lose all my money. What's the worst that can happen? And now just keep writing, and what's the best that can happen? What's the best that can happen? So the worst that can happen is that they're going to laugh at me, I'm going to fail, and the best that can happen is that I could change the world, I can make contribution, I could create abundance for myself and my family, I could create freedom and travel. Like, what is it? What's the best that can happen? Start finishing that up. So I have to ask you guys, the worst that can happen, can you handle that? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes? Yeah, usually you can, unless you're going to be dead. And the best that can happen, can you handle that?
Yes.
Yeah, right. Isn't it worth it? If you look at it, right? Isn't it worth the risk of going for it, feeling the fear and doing it anyway? Right? Yes, it's worth it. So let's just talk about these 4 biggies for a second and ways to work with the fear of failure, success, change, and unknown. So for the fear of failure, what comes up for people usually is, I'm gonna look bad. Everything that we do is based on looking good. We wanna look good and we don't wanna look bad. That's pretty much how we operate in life all the time. And we're so worried if we launch the new project and it fails and everybody's gonna go, haha, I told you so, and you're so stupid and that was such a waste of your time, and we're gonna look embarrassed in front of our family and our friends, right? Here's the secret. No one is paying attention to us. We are so egotistical. We think that everybody is like all eyes on us. You know what they're doing? They're worried about their shit. They're worried about their things failing or not. Failure is amazing. Dare to suck. Dare to be wrong. Dare to fall flat on your face, because you know what? At least you're moving forward. That's more than 90% of this world. You know that only 10% of this world is living their dream? That's it. And the fact that you stood up and you went for it is more than most. There are 5 regrets of the dying. Number 1 is they never went for their dreams. Number 1. And we're all young enough in here to not have that happen. And failure is the greatest teacher. When I first submitted my book to Hay House, it was rejected. And I said, okay, excellent. Thank you for that information, that data. I haven't brought my A game. I didn't take it as rejection or as failure. I'm like, okay, thank you. What do I need to do? So I redesigned my book proposal. I figured out that Hay House was interested in authors that were going to help them sell books. So I upped the social media, got myself booked on a national television show, resubmitted it, and they accepted me. But what if I was like, oh, I suck. My idea isn't original. Do not ever let anybody tell you that your idea has been done before. It has not been done before if it hasn't been done for you. That's what makes it unique. So you have to keep your faith in your creativity. In the Stanford course, I teach something about the creative process model. It's not great idea success. And you might look at me and be like, wow, Jen, you wrote a book, it's in Barnes & Noble's, holy shit. That's not how it happened. It was a great idea, hit the brick wall of frustration. 99.999% of the time, when you have a great idea, you will then hit the brick wall of frustration. Things do not go as planned. This is when most people give up and they go home. Oh well. But when you know that this is part of the process, you just pat yourself on the back, say, great, I'm in stage 2. Let go of your judgment of yourself, the expectation of how it all was supposed to work out, and you keep your idea. Right? You keep the what. The how has just blown up in your face. You hold on to the what and allow yourself to go through the process with the trust that the next how it will reveal itself. For me, every no is secretly leading me to my yes. So I never feel like a victim. I never feel rejected. I never feel failed. I just say, okay, thank you very much. I'm going to go back, recalibrate, get some allies, re-strategize, and come back again. And I would have gone back to Hay House. I had it in my mind 3 times. And if they had rejected me all 3 times, then I would have found a different publisher. And if that publisher all rejected me, then I would have published my own damn book. Right? Because I didn't have that story going on that my idea wasn't original. I knew that it was something different because it was coming through me. So know that it's not great idea success, and that failure is an awesome part of the process. For my students, I tell them to applaud your mistakes. That means you're actually doing something. Fear of success, this one I never got, but some people. Usually what comes up for my students is they'll tell me, I'm afraid that I'll surpass my partner, or I'll surpass my friends and family, and I will ostracize them with my success and won't be accepted, right? I don't want to go to college, or I don't want to be a millionaire, I don't want to, whatever it is, right? You know what I say to them? Let that be your problem. Take them all to Tahiti in your G6, and they're gonna love you. So don't worry about being so successful. Fear of change. This is an interesting one. This is like so bizarre because that's the only constant, right? The only thing we can be certain of is uncertainty. Nothing stays the same. Thank God, right? Yeah. So, I mean, a boy couldn't become a man, an apple seed couldn't become an apple, the seasons couldn't change. I mean, nothing would happen. We would all be so freaking bored. It'd be like living in that movie Groundhog's Day. So, change is amazing. Change is what breeds transformation. And there's a concept that I speak about in my course called impermanence. And impermanence, the Buddhists do that beautiful sand mandala. Have you ever seen that? They work on shifts 4 days and 4 nights, and they make this beautiful sand mandala. They stand there, and they stand there, and it's just a gorgeous piece of art. And then they dump it in the river. To not be attached to something. You know, to have that art of detachment. And when you live like that, no fire, no flood, no breakup, no death, nothing that ends, you're not shocked. You know, when the ground gets pulled out from under you, you say, oh yeah, here we are, impermanence. Yeah, nothing stays the same. And in the darkest of nights, what a great buoy to hold on to. It is not going to stay this bad. And in the most wonderful times when you have abundance and love in your life and health and it's beautiful out, impermanence, let me be in gratitude and be in a state of appreciation, you know, that I am here right now. And so it has you be very grounded, you know, really living with that comfortable, beautiful relationship with change. And fear of the unknown, you know, that's that big black dark hole. Like I said, if we knew everything was going to happen, right, it would be like that movie Groundhog's Day. We would be so bored. And so I say dance in the unknown. You know, maybe tomorrow the love of your life is going to be right there, sitting next to you. Perhaps that opportunity you've been longing for is going to manifest. You know, be in the adventure, the excitement, the unknown. And when you have that state of being, you start creating miracles. Because there's what you're doing and who you're being while you're doing it. Because you could be doing all the right things. Oh, Jen, I'm journaling and I'm meditating and I'm out there trying to find a job and I'm doing this and I'm networking. But who are you being while you're doing that? Are you being fear, scarcity, self-doubt, not enoughness? You could do all day long and you will not see the results. So it's really about shifting who you're being. And that's that deeper internal work that you get to do with yourself, just shifting your being. Just putting that Post-it up, I think, is a really powerful thing to work with. Who am I being? So you just check in. It's an awareness tool where you say, oh, ugh, I'm being clenched, fearful, scarcity, I'm feeling whatever. Let that go and choose something that's more empowering. Every moment we get to choose. We're going to be the victim of our circumstance or the creators of our reality. Every single moment you get to choose. So what I want you to do for some soul work is actually write out the best case scenario. I had a best case scenario, future life script of Cole and I. And we were there eating popcorn on my couch, watching documentaries, cracking up. And that's what we do all the time now. And that's what I focused on. Not that I would never have a relationship with my son, that I was this horrible mother, that this was a victim thing and this was happening to me, and guilt and shame. I didn't go there. Or at least I would go there and the audience member would interrupt me and have me focus on what I wanted to create for myself. So for your soul work, I want you to really take some time and just write out this incredible 2017 feel-good film of the year starring you. in the present tense, as if it has already occurred. It's a done deal. There I am. I am blah, 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 whatever it is that you're creating for yourself. Read it every day. It's a practice. Wherever you put your attention is where your power goes. You're putting your attention on what's not working, on the fear, scarcity, not enoughness, that's where your power goes. Put your attention on what you're creating. Use mindfulness, meditation, journaling as daily practices to ground yourself. You learn more personal development tools. You have people hold you high, accountable. Then you start to soar. It's a choice. Another great tool is worry time. So there are some people that grew up in homes where one of their parents or both had that excessive worry. And they were like, you know, this is my ex-husband's mom. She's from Brooklyn, Italian. So like literally, she did not hear from my ex-husband in 24 hours. Now he's like, you know, a grown man. She would call the house and she would say, "Where's Joey? Oh my God, is he under a truck dead?" I'm like, "No, Marie, he's in the living room." What's happening? You know, was there a bomb? No, just for no reason. Just complete, no reason, insanity, worrying. So if you grew up with now my poor husband, my ex-husband, he worries so much about my son. Like I see it come up for him. So much. And I'm like totally chill. And so we have a good balance. I probably should worry a little bit more. So we're good for each other. And so some of us grew up in homes like that, right? With the neuroses and the obsession and the worry. And then like we just inherit that, you know, it just comes in our bones. So anything that is kind of pounded in, we can also pound out with awareness. And that's something that is a practice. So worry time is really great for people who worry constantly, like about nothing at all. And it's great if you are not a worrier and you're hit with something like, you know, you're waiting for a test result. I don't care who you are. That's a little nerve-wracking, you know. Or a loved one is waiting for a test result. Or there's a financial situation going on. Or you think you might lose your love or your job. Like you're just in one of those moments. Set worry time. Worry time is can be 8 p.m., 9 p.m. You put it in your phone. You wake up in the morning. It's one of those mornings when you have the fear and anxiety is in your throat. One of those mornings. Set worry time. And all day long, every time that worrisome thought comes in, you say, "Oh, hello. I can't worry about you now because it's not worry time. I'll see you at 8. And then you're cooking dinner and you start worrying about, no. I'll see you at 8. And you just keep going. And 8 o'clock comes, I'm going to give you permission to take 30 minutes to worry. What do you think is going to happen? You're going to get 3 seconds. You're going to start hysterical laughing at the absurdity of worrying. Like, oh, I'm going to sit down and actually worry? Like, what the hell is that going to do? So you've saved yourself an entire day. It's a psychological trick. So try it on, especially when something's really in your space. Another fun thing that you can do with your phone is the Be Here Now alarm. So in week 3 of the Stanford course, we do an entire week. It's like a mental boot camp to train our minds to stay in the moment. There are many, many procedures and techniques that we do in order to master that. The very first one, step 1, is to first actually do a statistical analysis of where your brain is 90% of the time. So the technique is to set your phone to ring 3 times a day for 1 week. Right when you wake up, noon, later at night. The phone goes off. Here's what you do. First, you just see it. Make it an event, so it says Be Here Now. So you look at the phone, okay, Be Here Now. Now you want to do the statistical analysis and just stop and say, okay, where was my brain just now? Was I worrying in the future? Was I regretting the past? Was I in the present moment? You might also be planning. You got a plan to move forward, that's fine. You might also be in the past and looking at life review like, oh, that worked and that didn't work. So that's okay. Being in the present is awesome. Planning is fine. Life review is fine. But if you find, you're collecting data now, that every time that phone goes off, you're worrying or you're regretting, you're caught in the past or you're stressed about the future. How do you guys feel when you worry? What's the emotion? Fear and anxiety, right? And what about when you are in the past, regretting, I shoulda, coulda, woulda, why did I do that? What do you feel emotionally? Guilt, shame, sadness, right? Anger, frustration. So when I began my journey, I was very interested in the law of attraction. I wrote a book about it. I was very interested in quantum physics. I started studying Gregg Braden and McTaggart, all of these great, brilliant minds that had done all of us a wonderful service of dumbing down quantum physics so that we could understand it. And whatever movies I read and books I read at the time, one thing was constant. That in order to work with this energy field that surrounds us all, right? That magnetic field where like attracts like, and use it for the purposes of manifesting, to manifest whatever it is that you want to call in, you had to speak the language that this energy field spoke. Does anybody know what the 0 point field, the quantum field speaks? You know what language it is? It's not Spanish. I'll be good. Anybody know?
Vibration.
It's emotion. And so what if you're on the hamster wheel all day long, worrying about the future, regretting the past, putting out fear, anxiety, sadness, anger, depression, guilt, shame? What do you think is going to come back? More of that. Yeah, people who are on that radio station, they're also tuned to that low frequency. And so situations, events, people come in, right? We all have that friend, and we've been that friend, right? The one who's like, oh my God, I just got hit by a bus, and I got fired, and they broke up with me. It's like every time you bump into them, right? The same story. And you're like, oh my God. It's so obvious to us that they are creating this reality, and they just think that they are victim, look what's happening to me, you know? And they cannot see that they are creating that. And we do that too. So having the mastery tool of self-observation, that's really what I help people do. Stepping outside and observing, oh, how interesting. I'm constantly worrying about the future. I'm stuck in the past. I didn't even know that about myself. I had no awareness that I was doing that. You cannot shift and change what you have no clue is happening. So much of the work that I do is uncovering subconscious limiting belief systems. You know, if you're finding yourself in a bad financial situation, you have to lift the rug under it and go, what are my beliefs around money? Because that's what's creating your reality. Everything you think, believe, and feel is being channeled through your consciousness, creating your reality. That's the movie of your life. And if you are living in the old belief systems and old paradigms of what your parents instilled in you, right? Money doesn't grow on trees, fear and scarcity, we don't have enough. So what does your life look like? Going paycheck to paycheck. You're just doing the cycle. Because you haven't interrupted it, you haven't looked underneath the surface, brought those limiting beliefs up, and reprogrammed them. So facts are facts, right? It's what you believe about those facts is what you have power to do. So you can have a fact that you have $400 in the bank. You can have a belief that, oh my God, I'm going to be homeless and destitute and I'm a loser and a failure. Or you can believe, wow, I'm on my way to finding my purpose and creating new streams of revenue and creativity, and I'm going to be a success. I believe in myself. So whatever you believe, you achieve. But you have to do that internal work to bring it up to the surface, to figure out what is running you. You know, we are hypnotized by society, by our parents, by teachers, and as adults, if we don't stop, and have the art of self-awareness and notice what we're doing and how we're showing up, we can't reprogram it. So the Be Here Now alarm goes off, you notice, where was I? You start to see a pattern. And my 3 favorite ways of getting back into the present moment are breath, just breathing, doing the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Your eyes are open, doesn't matter where you are, and being grateful. Usually we are worried about what we don't have, and we are regretting what we've lost. And we forget that all of us have legs to walk in here. And we have eyes to see. That we don't live in Syria. So we forget, It's really important for us to invoke gratitude. I think gratitude is the best radio station to be tuned to. Because you can tune to that even if things aren't so great. You can tune to the simplest things and get grateful about that. Gratitude breeds gratitude. And when you are in a state of appreciation, you meet people and have events and things happen for you where there's generosity and kindness and goodness. That's what starts to flow around you. And it's a practice. Gratitude is a practice. Trust and acceptance. At all times, even in the face of obstacle and delay, the universe is always conspiring with me. So in every single moment, right, I said earlier, you get to choose. You're going to be the victim of your circumstance, or this is like something that's happening to you something that's happening for you versus to you. And to take that stance of this is happening for me, not to me. No matter what is happening, it's going to allow things to shift and change very, very quickly. And you'll be able to calibrate yourself if you just accept. I had to just be in full acceptance that my son was not living with me anymore. I didn't want to band-aid the pain. I didn't want to distract from it. I just had to be with that. And from that space, I got to just trust, right? That everything was happening exactly as it should. And, understanding that, especially for teenage boys who are very close to their moms, because we were like this, it's actually really important for his coming of age to detach as a boy and then come back as a man. And it was a rite of passage. And it was part of his evolution. And now we have this whole other relationship that's even deeper and more connected than we were before. And I trusted that, right? So I was accepting of what was happening. I was trusting that it would shift and change. And I stayed in the moment. I stayed present so that I could focus on what I wanted to happen instead of the doomsday. So I want to end today with one of my favorite meditations from the Stanford course. It's called Meet Your Future Self. And I need somebody on the end of the rows. I just want to make it a little darker in here. And if everybody could just put your pen and paper underneath your chair so that you have hands free.
You did that. I would have looked really good.
So according to quantum physics, can somebody hit that light too? Thank you. According to quantum physics, the past, present, and the future is all happening simultaneously. It's just one big now. So right now, we're in this room all together. And right now, 20 years from now, we're older, wiser, been there, done that. And who better than to go seek wisdom to? If you're not totally tapped into that yak, if you're still wanting to take the poll, before you take the poll, I'd ask you to first go and talk to your future self. So I want you to hold a question in your mind's eye, something where you're stuck, not sure what to do about. And whether that is this the right relationship for me, or what's the next best step on my journey, or even just be open to whatever you think they need you to know right now, hold that in your mind and close your eyes. And I'm going to take you on a journey into the future. And I don't want you to look for anybody else, no photographs, no animals, not trying to predict the future. This is just a interaction with you and your future self 20 years from now. The most gorgeous, talented, fabulous version of you. Give yourself Botox, I'm not looking. So just close your eyes. Take a couple nice, long, deep breaths in. And I want you to imagine that you're walking along a beautiful riverbank. And it's the perfect day. Up ahead, you see a boat with a friendly captain driving it. The captain pulls the boat along shore and lets you in. And you begin to sail down the river. But you notice it's a different kind of river. It's the river of time. 5 years pass. 10 years pass. 15 years pass. 20 years pass. The friendly captain pulls the boat along shore and lets you out. And he points the way to where you live 20 years from now. Where are you? Is it a city street, a country road, the beach, the mountains, or another country? This is yours. Paint it in. Up ahead, you see your home. The place that you live 20 years from now. You go up to the door, knock on it, and your future self answers. Look in their eyes. Those are your eyes. Look at their smile. That's your smile. Notice what they're wearing, their shoes, their jewelry. Take it in. Your future self now leads you into one of the rooms. Where have they taken you today? Notice the colors, the textures, the fabrics, the furniture. You have created all of this. Paint it in. Now your future self leaves for a moment. And when they come back in, they're carrying a beautifully wrapped gift. Open it up. What have they given you today? Ask them if there's any significance to the gift. Now your future self looks you deeply in the eyes. It says to you, what is it that you want to know? Ask them any question that's locked in your heart and have them answer you now. Take your time. It's almost time to go. Ask your future self if they have any last words of wisdom for you. And let them share these words of wisdom with you now. It's time to go. Their future self walks you to the door. And before you leave, ask them if there's a name other than your own name that you can call them by when you come to visit. Let them whisper this name into your ear. Give them a great big hug and tell them that you will return to see all the rooms in the house, to ask all the unanswered questions that are in your heart. And they reply by telling you that they will be here for you as an ally if you ever feel lost or alone or afraid, that you can come to them to seek clarity and wisdom and insight. Give them one last great big hug and begin to make your way back down, 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 down to where the friendly captain is waiting. Board the boat and begin to sail. 5 years. 10 years. 15 years. 20 years back to today. Thank the friendly captain, and he tips his hat, letting you know that you can come back anytime, night or day. And when you're ready, very gently and very slowly come back to the here and now and open your eyes. So for some people, that's a very emotional meditation. So if that came up for you, it's very normal, actually more normal than not. Sometimes you don't hear the name or see the gift. It's something that begins to happen over time. You can come back to this meditation again and again. It gets deeper, it gets clearer. When I met my future self 10 years ago, when I did this course as a student, the gift she gave me was a golden pen. And I said, what is this for? And she said, turn around. And there was a bookshelf. And she said, you see those books? You're going to write one. And I had never even considered writing a book. And the day that I met her, she gave me a name, and it was Grace. So when I was becoming a published author, I wanted to let go of my ex-husband's name and take my own name, but I just didn't know what it should be. And my assistant at the time said, well, what about your future self? You talk about Grace all the time. And I just kind of said it, Jennifer Grace. And it just landed. And I wanted to be living in her power now. And I visit her often. She'll give me like thumbs up, thumbs down, not time to know yet. I don't take the boat anymore. It's very powerful. All of the tools are really powerful that come from this course.